Sharper Point Commentary.
Phoenix has been without a police chief for almost 3 years, or at least one that doesn't have the word interim in front of the word chief, and that doesn't look like it's going to change anytime soon because, as we've been telling you all morning, interim Phoenix Police Chief Michael Sullivan has decided to step down and take himself out of the running for the job without the interim tag, and the city has decided to start the process of finding its new permanent chief all over again, telling the other 3 finalists that they'll need to reapply. I'll be a little surprised if all 3 reapply and if much of anybody else applies, with the federal government waiting in the wings, waiting to neuter the police department. Sure, Phoenix police has had some problems over the years, but the report that came out from the Department of Justice last year was ridiculous and painted the PD to look like a bunch of thugs. It's why State Senate President Warren Peterson sent a letter to the Department of Justice asking the DOJ to rescind a report it issued last year that was critical of Phoenix police.
The report was a disaster. As I looked at some of the transcripts, you could read what the officer being interviewed would say, and then you would see the DOJ's report. They didn't match up.
But what Senator Peterson's goal was not to get the DOJ to check their work like a school teacher would ask of a student. His goal was to get the DOJ to back off and not insist on putting a federal monitor in place, an overseer, because it hasn't worked out in the past for places where one has been put in place.
When DOJ comes in and takes over a department, it always costs money. Public safety doesn't improve.
So he asked in that letter for the DOJ to
look at the history. When is the last time that the DOJ has had something with a positive outcome after they've taken things over, other than just costing money and making monitors a lot of money?
According to a paper produced by the National Bureau of Economic Research, a couple of economists found that 61% of pattern or practice investigations, that's what the DOJ did here, ended with cities and or agencies entering into a consent decree or a memorandum of agreement with the DOJ. In the case of the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office, the legal and compliance costs of a 2007 DOJ racial profiling lawsuit that was launched under Joe Arpaio, who hasn't even been in office since 2016, are projected to reach $316 million by the summer. The DOJ and its monitor are still sucking public safety money out of the county, ostensibly to make the county safer, and it's having the opposite effect. It's one of the reasons that Arpaio's successor, former Sheriff Paul Penzone, decided to end his law enforcement career, and he hopes that Phoenix doesn't willingly enter into an agreement with the DOJ. Because DOJ investigations and decrees so remarkably change the way police do their job, those researchers I mentioned earlier concluded that DOJ policing of the police in Baltimore, Chicago, Cincinnati, Ferguson, Missouri, and Riverside, California caused statistically significant increases in both homicide and total crime. In fact, almost 34,000 excess felonies. So, as we discuss how to reform Phoenix police and how to find a new Phoenix police chief, I've said all along, let's stop this talk about defunding the police. And let's stop this talk about defunding the police being done by the federal government.
Thanks for watching Sharper Point. Click to see more from Arizona's Morning News and tap the button in the middle to subscribe.